Hi, friend. Welcome to Conversation with Friends. I'm Jubilee. Let's get comfortable. This podcast is exactly what it sounds like. Real, honest, unfiltered conversations with people that I love and aspire to. And we're going to be talking about rebuilding after pregnancy. Oh my God. I have my phone here so that way I can look at my notes and I can make sure that I'm touching and hitting on every point that I have written down here. How are you? How's your day going? How have you been? Let's all together take a deep breath. Okay, I think now we're ready to dive in. Dive in. Hi, if it's your first time seeing me, my name is Jubilee, yes, like the X-Men character, and I have been creating content for over a decade, on and off for over a decade. And I recently just became a mom, and I'm on my journey of trying to rediscover myself and trying to define what purpose and passion looks like for me right now in this season of my life. And I thought you and I can just jump into these conversations, and hopefully I inspire you, and hopefully you inspire me as well with your stories, because this podcast is not just for me. This podcast is for us. We are here, okay, to dive in. So this is why we're starting with a deep breath. If you're listening to this in the morning, when it first drops, I hope that you are able to just have that 2, 3, 10 seconds to yourself of just taking in a deep breath and just breathing out and allowing yourself just because you're allowed that. You're allowed that. Especially to my mommies out there, we're allowed that. It's not easy out here being a mother, honestly. I know I've just been new to this and I'm only 3 days into this. Let's jump into today's conversation. So today, the biggest thing that I want you to say to yourself or have at the back of your mind is, I'm not trying to bounce back. I'm building myself forward. Yep, because I've come to learn that version of you that did exist before pregnancy, she's gone. She's really, truly just gone. Yes. And now you get to, and it's not a bad thing, because now you get the opportunity to reinvent yourself. It's almost like you get a clean slate at just being whoever it is that you want to be. You know, you can be anybody. You can be that woman. You can be that woman that you were before. You can just, be a 2.0 version of her as well. Here's the biggest takeaway I want for you at the end of this episode is that you're allowed to take time becoming yourself again, or whatever this new version of you is. Yep, I wanted to give us something to center us at the beginning of the podcast, but at the same time, I want this to be your takeaway so that you already know what your takeaway will be at the end of this. As we have these conversations, you have that at the back of your mind and you're reminding yourself constantly, I'm not trying to bounce back, I'm building myself forward. So I want to talk about how, for me, at least, pregnancy and postpartum has changed me. During the pregnancy period, as you start to feel like you're no longer yourself, because it sips in slowly, right? It sips in slowly into your soul, where you start to feel like, I'm no longer myself. I no longer feel like myself. I no longer want to do the things, because you don't have motivation to do the things that you want to do. I mean, some people do have very great pregnancies. They have easier pregnancies. For me, mine wasn't the easiest, because I just felt like every step of the way just felt like I was meeting something new. And because also I am a first time mom, and it was my first time being pregnant, it was just all the symptoms just felt like, oh my God, is it going to be over? For me, I had prenatal depression, which I'd never had depression before. I'd never experienced depression before. And so it was so weird for me to feel like I was depressed. I felt like I had no motivation to want to do anything. I wanted all the windows closed. I wanted the room to be dark. I didn't want anything, and I didn't want nobody talking to me. I'm like, if you're coming into the house, come in with a flashlight of your iPhone. Do not come into this house. No, don't do that. I wanted to just be left alone. Right? And then as you slowly progress into the pregnancy, you just feel so tired all the time. You feel bloated. You're not able to, you're constantly hungry. You're not able to do the things that you used to do. Even when you have community, you have people around around you, there's this feeling of like loneliness that you get. And I think one of the things, even for me, when I documented at the beginning of my pregnancy, was that I was feeling detached from my personality, and it forced like this increased anxiety of feeling like I'm not understood. I can explain myself to people. I'm not feeling like they understand me. Like, you don't understand what I'm going through because you're not pregnant in that moment. But it's all hormones as well. And then I felt like this added pressure to want to do. Like, I felt because I was always a very productive person, and I wasn't being productive at that time. I felt like I needed to constantly just do. Like, and I will tire myself, and then I will get frustrated from tiring myself out from not being able to be productive. It's such a crazy cycle. I've reinvented myself multiple times. Like, so many times I've like, I changed my different versions of myself. But this one just felt like I couldn't do anything about it, because I felt like in that moment, obviously, it was chemicals that were just working in your body, but I felt like I wanted to hold on to the control of it, but I couldn't. So through the pregnancy, I just felt like I couldn't wait to have the baby. I just cannot wait to have the baby, because once I have the baby, I'm going to get myself back. I'm going to be good. I'm going to have more control, autonomy of my body. So he's outside of me. I'm not going to, boy, was I wrong, honey. I was wrong because postpartum is another thing, like another stage, boy, oh boy, do they not talk about postpartum enough. I think that whatever it is that someone says about postpartum, I feel like you want to like exaggerate it by 100, put it on crack, give it crack cocaine, and then, give it on steroids or whatever. And then that's what it is. Postpartum is crazy. And so when I had my baby, I just felt like constant anxiety. Anxiety because I'm a new mom and I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping this baby alive. There's so many rules, like, oh, you have to wake them up every hour and a half so you can feed them. Oh, you have to take care of yourself. You can't carry anything over 10 pounds, but your baby is like almost 10 pounds. You have to like take care of yourself. You have to sleep well. You have to eat well. There's so many rules that you're bombarded with, and your body is also physically going through like a huge transition as well. So it just felt very overwhelming, very, very overwhelming. So for me, while I was pregnant, I did therapy, right? And therapy is one of the things that I really, really suggest for anyone, not even if you're pregnant or whatever. Therapy just really helps you just sort through the garbage, like just sort through all of the noise in your head, and allows you just figure out who you are outside of everything else, right? Because let's remove pregnancy, let's remove postpartum out of it, just you existing as a woman, right? There's so many voices in your head, the TV, the social media, your friends, family. There's so many people telling you what to do, who to be, all of those things, and you have to figure out your own voice. And I think that therapy helps me a lot, and I highly, highly suggest it. If you're trying to be on this journey of like trying to reinvent yourself, you need to figure out like things like why you react a certain way, why you behave a certain way, why you act a certain way, so that way when you're able to figure those things out, it's easier for you to move through life, in my opinion. Again, like I said, for me, it really helped me during pregnancy. So towards the end of my pregnancy, I just knew I wasn't sure if postpartum was going to hit me hard, because for some people they didn't feel as postpartum didn't hit them as hard. For me, it did. And so I knew, I wasn't sure if it was going to hit me hard. So what I did was I wrote a letter to all of my friends and asking them for support, because I'm not one person who knows how to ask for help. I do not know how to ask for help. I don't like asking for help. I always feel like in my head I can do it all. I'm gonna be the Messiah, save everybody. Also, I have like first child syndrome as well, which is, let's not dive into that. That's another conversation for another episode. But I always just felt like I wanted to just constantly do for myself. And so I was like, Julie, you need to pause. You need to breathe for a second, and you need to ask for help, because when you have this baby, you will need the support. You will need community. You will need help. So what I did was I wrote a letter, or rather text messages, email, whatever it is that I wanted to, but I communicated that to my closest circle of friends. And I said to them, hey, I'm going to need your support during my postpartum. I don't know how it's going to hit me, but please show up for me, show me love, check in on me. Like, even if I don't respond to you, don't take it personal. Just know that I am doing my best and I'm trying to survive the postpartum stage, and this I had not even stepped into it. And so when I stepped into my postpartum stage, just having that and my community understanding that I needed the support, they showed up for me, like checking in, just like, hey, how you doing? But also they tried not to overwhelm me, which I truly appreciated. They tried not to overwhelm me with like messages and calls and check-ins and things like that. And in every message, they will always end it with, you do not have to respond to this. Take your time, enjoy all of the process. And so that was really nice. Like that was felt really, really good. And so as I'm going through the trenches of it, I'm like fighting, one, trying to take care of my baby, trying to figure me out, trying to find that old version of me. And I needed to learn, which my therapist helped me with. I had to learn that old version of me, she does not exist anymore. She's gone. And now all I needed to do was create this new version of me, or reinvent this new version of me and move forward, right? Instead of trying to move backwards and figure out how I can be her and all of those things, I needed to move forward instead and just figure out who I am now. Like, who am I now? I'm a mother. Outside of being a mother, what else can I do? And I was like, okay, I want to start a podcast. And yes, I know they say not everybody should have a mic, not everybody, but I just felt like this will be my therapy, and I'm hoping that it will be your therapy. Hearing my stories, hearing the things that I talk about will help you on your journey of pregnancy or postpartum, or I mean just something that you just listen to that makes you feel like you're not crazy. Because I would listen to some things and I'm like, yep, thank you very much. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy at all. So I hope this space is that safe space for you. So the next thing I did was I had to give myself permission to rebuild slowly. So you know that phrase, slow and steady wins the race? I've never believed in that phrase. Like, all my life, I just believed that you had to grind. You had to go. The harder you go, the better. Like, the more you need to put in the work. You need to grind. You need to do all of that. But pregnancy and postpartum forced me, and having a baby forced me to like slow down, ma'am. First of all, your physical body has already slowed you down, and your physical body needs you to woosa, like. Your physical body just needs you to breathe and take it slow. And I would discuss that with my therapist. I'll tell her all the time, like, I just hate the idea of going slow. Like, what am I going to achieve with going slow? What am I going to do? I came up with this and I said to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a walk every day. I'm going to walk 2 miles with my baby during his nap time, put him in the stroller and walk. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do that consistently every day for a month. And let's see how I feel. Let's see if slow and steady works. And also let's see if I'm able to cancel out the noise in my head. And so I started my walks. So I started my walks every day. The first day I just felt like, oh my God, this is not getting any better. I just hate this. This is like so slow. Like, I want to work out. I want to be running. I want to be lifting. I want to be doing my Pilates. I want to be doing my weights. I want to get back to like me. But then I had to like tell myself, Julie, you can commit to this. You can commit to this just one day at a time, commit to 30 days. If this doesn't work, then you can switch it. I started walking every day. I want to tell you that by day 5, I felt so good about myself. It's crazy. Like, the first day I felt good, but like by day 5, I felt so good about myself. And it just was walking. Honestly, you do not even have to be a mom to do this one. Like, just walking, like, create time in your day and say to yourself, that's my baby. He's like yelling. I don't know if you guys can hear it over the mic, but he's excited. Anyways, so what you can do is create moments for yourself where you just take a walk. Like, something about it just clears your head. I wasn't even listening to music. I wasn't listening to anything. I was just me and vibes, me and nature. We're just doing our thing, and that walk really helped me. And then at the end of the walk, right, and when I'm holding my baby and he's waking up from his nap, and you have like this huge smile when I just like, open the stroller, or I'm like looking at him and he has this huge smile. And I know mothers say, oh my God, that's my reward, but really it felt so good because it felt like not just in that moment am I doing something for myself. I felt like he also enjoyed the process of that walk. I felt like he enjoyed being outside in nature as well. And I could just be the Lulu in the Lululand. But in that moment, it worked for me and made me feel sane. Right. So I will suggest, well, anything, something that takes you outside of the house, something that gets you to get some fresh, even if it's going outside and just sitting down and just taking a few deep breaths, honestly, like just being outside and taking in that sun or just taking in that fresh air makes a difference. And even if you're in a place and you're like, oh my God, it's snowing here, the day it's not snowing, just go outside. And even if it's snowing outside, open your window for a little bit. Like wear that jacket, open the window for a little bit and let that fresh air come in. It really, truly makes a difference. And then it was in that season of me doing all of this that I'm thinking to myself like, okay, Jubilee, you need to share this information, because I'm just one of those people who really enjoy, like when I learn something new, I want everybody else to learn it. Like I just genuinely want everyone to be a part of it. I want everyone to learn it. My friends know that if I just learn something, oh my God, I want to send it to all of them so that way they can learn, because I feel so good about it. And I'm like, if somebody else can benefit from this, here we go. And so hence the reason why, again, I wanted to start this podcast where it's like, we just talk about stuff, like real life stuff, just real life day by day, just really living life, like, and the day by day, the little things that you don't even think about. I'm hoping that this inspires you to live, to enjoy your process, like to enjoy the process of becoming. Another thing that I had to ask myself is that why does slowing down make me uncomfortable, right? I realize it's because I've never been in this place of taking things slow. But then also I had to ask myself, you've been running around, hustling like a crazy person. Have you ever taken a moment to just breathe, step back and reassess? And I said, no, I've not. And so I had to okay, so let's use this opportunity to reassess. Let's live in the now. You know that thing that people say when you're buying clothes, buy clothes for your current weight and not for your future weight or the woman that you think you're going to be in the future. I 100% agree with that, even with this, because I'm thinking to myself, and that's what I was thinking in that moment. I was like, you've been hustling, you've never been able to take a step back and reassess or just assess everything, right? And I said, how about you just live day by day? How about you enjoy the process of becoming? How about you don't live in the future and don't live in the past either? How about you live in present time, where it's like, what can I do today to get me from point A to point B? So here's a big thing that has helped me on the daily, or at least this is the one big thing that has really helped me on this journey, right, of really reinventing myself. So when you start to set big goals for yourself, meaning you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, 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 I'm going to do this. It can feel very overwhelming for you, but also it can feel very overwhelming for your brain. It can also feel very overwhelming for you, and force you not to start, right? But when you set simple, attainable goals, it's easier for you to find momentum to want to do more. And when I say that, I say this because I had to set four goals, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that. I had to set 4 goals. I had to set one emotional goal, I had to set a physical goal, I had to set an identity goal, and I had to set a routine goal. And what I did was I set one goal, right? One goal for myself. You can do it for the day or you can do it for the week. I highly recommend it. Let's go over it again. One emotional goal, one physical goal, one identity goal, and one routine goal. And let me explain to you how this works, right? An example of it would be, for example, an emotional goal. I want to be calmer and much more calmer, and I want to be less reactive, right? And it's a goal that I set for myself for that day, right? I'm like, I want to be much calmer, or I set it for myself for the week, right? I suggest doing it for the week so that way it's the same repetition through the week. And with repetition, your brain starts to take in that information and take that as your reality, right? So I want to be calmer and less reactive, because one thing about postpartum is like when you feel really misunderstood or anxious, you feel like everybody is against you or everybody's trying to fight you. And so sometimes you find yourself exploding. An example for me is one time I was like, okay, I wanted to go out of the house. And so my husband and I, we went grocery shopping. And while we're out grocery shopping, I literally was like, oh, I'm going to get some avocados. He's like, oh, we have avocados at home. And I literally turned to him, I'm like, what do you mean we have avocados at home? You don't want me to eat avocados? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that I should not eat avocados? And he was looking at me like, that's not what I'm saying. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even buying the avocados. He's like, you can get the avocado. I'm like, I'm not getting the avocados. Now you're telling me what to do. I don't want to do that. Crazy reaction, honestly. But yeah, like I remind myself like, okay, I want to be calmer. So in situations like that now, I go like, oh, Julie, you gotta be calm. You gotta be calm. There's the chemicals that in your head. They're talking to you. I don't always get it right, but I keep trying, and I kept reminding myself, and now I've been able to get to a space where it's just like I'm much calmer. At the time this is recorded, I just want to make it very clear that I'm 6 months postpartum, and I don't know what the rest of the journey is, but in this present moment I feel good, and I feel like a little bit of the veil has been lifted. So an example of the physical goal will be, oh, I want to move my body 2 to 3 times a week. Right? It could be walking, lifting, whatever it is that gives you joy or brings you joy, you can do that. If you do not have help, you can just maybe one of the naps, take your baby on a walk instead, put on your favorite podcast, or you can also just go on vibes like on nature and sound, and just let you clear your own head yourself, or clear your head space yourself. So just whatever works for you, like honestly. And if you're like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna do like a quick 10-minute workout on YouTube, you know, and my baby's there doing independent play, go ahead and do that. Find ways to get your body moving, find ways to change your space, and that helps a lot. And then in terms of the routine goal, right? Sorry, identity goal. Identity goal is I want to feel like myself again, but I'm allowed to enjoy the process. Okay, so you want to feel like yourself again, meaning not like, oh, I want to do all the things that my old self could do, because like I said, your old self, she's gone. She's gone. Okay, she's gone, baby girl. Okay, I'm doing too much. But you want to feel like yourself again, meaning you want to enjoy the foods that you usually would enjoy. You want to laugh at the jokes that you usually would laugh at. You want to just truly just enjoy the things that you usually would enjoy, and find the fun and laughter in life again. And so just remember, I want to feel like myself again. We're not saying like, oh, I want to go back to the old version of myself. No, you want to enjoy and try to enjoy the things that you usually would enjoy, the foods you enjoy, the walks, the music you enjoy, the movies you will enjoy, without feeling guilty or feeling a certain way. And then and then the last goal, which is a routine goal, you can say to yourself, I don't want my mornings to feel rushed. So for me, what that looked like is in the morning, I just took my time to like make myself a cup of tea. Like before my baby woke up, I would make myself a cup of tea, drink that, and just enjoy myself. Like just hold on and savor that moment. And then I'll do a little bit of journaling just to clear my head and set my intention for the day. Take a few deep breaths. Honestly, I try to wake up at least 30 minutes to an hour before he wakes up, so that way I'm able to just woosa, have a moment to myself before the chaos of being a mother. Yes, it's not easy, but I see you and you're doing great, and you are allowed to truly take it slow. Like you are allowed to take it slow, miss it, and repeat yourself again the next day. As long as you keep standing up and you keep trying every single day, that is all that matters. Try every day. Let's get back to some of the things that we've talked about today. Today we've spoken about pregnancy, we've spoken about postpartum, we've spoken about identity during pregnancy and losing identity during postpartum. We've also spoken about like ways that we can show up for ourselves, simple ways that we can show up for ourselves. We've talked about goals that we can set, 4 kinds of goals that we can set for ourselves for the week that gets us going. We've spoken about the emotional goal, the physical goal, the identity goal, and the my God, the routine goal, right? We've set those 4 goals for ourselves that we can put during the week that sets the tone for us during the week. So let's try these things. Let me not overwhelm you or bombard you with so much information, but let's try these things that we've mentioned today. Let's try these things and see how we feel. Like, is this helping me? Let's not jump into I know when you hear reinventing yourself, you're thinking, oh, I need to like get my body back, get this back, all those things will come, but let's get our mind right first. And the moment we're able to get our mind right, the physical will follow. All of these things will follow, and you will come out the other side. Like I said, I'm 6 months postpartum, and I feel like the veil is beginning to lift. Like, one day I woke up and I was like, whoa, I feel good. I feel like myself, a little more like myself. And it just felt good. It felt really good. Like, let me tell you, I felt like, I was like, oh, I'm dancing on sunshine. I didn't feel like I was in constant survival mode anymore. So yeah, I really, really hope that you enjoyed this episode. This is just real conversations and just how I will chat with my girlfriends, and I'm hoping that you enjoyed this episode completely. Again, do not forget, which is the core message of today's podcast, I'm not trying to bounce back. I'm building myself forward. I'm not trying to bounce back. I am building myself forward. And the biggest takeaway I hope you get from this is that you are allowed to take your time becoming yourself again, or whatever this version of you is. Like, you're allowed that permission. If nobody's giving you permission, I'm giving you permission. Until next time, my friend, take what you need, leave what you don't, and I will see you on the next episode. Have a fantastic day. Oh, that's good.